Hello to our boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin' Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com. We're going to start off with a little story out of England regarding Tyson Fury, who is in for a pretty big clash against Derek Chisora over at Tottenham Spurs Stadium. Anyway, the subject, if you will, of this particular article is his rather Spartan training camp, as he refers to it. Let me go through a few of the quotes as he's warming up for his fight against Chisora and probably now doing press conferences over in London. Anyway, he was asked, about some of his projects that he had to put on pause so that his full attention could be paid what will be the third defense of his WBC belt. So he said, a third publication, hopefully a hit single, and Netflix filming have all been put on the side, as his focus has been solely on training. He said, I completed the book before I started training camp, so that was done. I recorded the single before I started training, and I've just done remote interviews here and there regarding those projects. I carved out Netflix for the full fight camp, so I can concentrate on my opponent. I physically, mentally, and emotionally can't do any more to win this fight. By the time the fight comes, I will have done 9 weeks training, 9 weeks of isolation away from my family. Sugar Hill has been here and will have been for 6 or 7 weeks by the time the fight comes around. I've had the nutritionist here for the full 9 weeks, and I've been alone in Morecambe Bay. I can't do any more than that. I'm isolating away from the family, keeping them at arm's length, and just living like a fighter. While I'm in camp, I'm in Spartan mode, and I can't be around the family. I've got to have this fight attitude in order to win these fights, big fights. You can fight 6-rounders or against low-level opposition, 8-rounders and stuff, and you can fight them anywhere. When you're fighting 12-round fights for the world heavyweight title and everything's on the line, you have to take it very, very seriously. Tyson went on to explain on the Queensbury YouTube channel how this relationship with the fight game is currently a harmonious one, delivering him peace of mind along with glorious highs. My relationship with boxing? I'm in a very good place with boxing at the moment. I'm back. I'm hungry. I'm putting the work in. I'm grinding. George Foreman said a long time ago, along with some other boxers, that it is difficult to run along this road at 5 a.m. when you've got your Versace slippers on and your silk pajamas. I don't find it that way. My attitude is that it's easier for me running along the road, knowing that I'm financially secure and I've done all that I've needed to do. This is a hobby now rather than business or a sport. This is my hobby, and I love to do it. I've been in love with boxing for such a long time, from being a little boy, and I'm 34 now. Probably at the end of my career in the next few years, it's been a love-hate relationship, and it's been toxic at times. But when it is good, it is very, very good. So we're in that relationship, and I don't have to abandon things. I just try to make things work, and that's where we're at the minute. I wanted to leave a lot of times, but it always drags me back. It's like a massive drug and an addiction. I know it's an addiction, and I'm an addictive person. It's not my best friend. It is an addiction. It is abusive, because when I come to the gym, it abuses my body, my mind, and my soul. But afterwards, I feel like it takes me to ecstasy. The rush is unbelievable. And it gives me the biggest highs ever, but it also gives me the lowest lows as well. Boxing is more addictive than any drug ever, because you can't let it go. And that, my friends, is from Tyson Fury himself, the heavyweight champ at the moment and about to face Derek Chisora. In other boxing news from the UK, Fightzone promoter Dennis Hobson is planning a world title journey for Kirstie Bavington, Bavvo, after the Wolverhampton fighter's recent successful defense of her European Boxing Union EBU welterweight title. That was fought, as we all know, at Rotherham Magna Centre on November 19th. But she's managed and trained by BCB Promotions, and it looks like Hobson has some plans. She's now 7-2-2. She's riding high on a four bout winning streak, including a highlight victory over highly touted April Hunter. And she's on. And Hobson believes the 30-year-old can follow in the footsteps of Fight Academy stablemate Hannah Rankin. Having previously guided the likes of Ricky Hatton, Clinton Woods, and Jamie McDonald to the pinnacle of the sport, as well as helping Rankin to become a double and two-time world champion, Hobson is a master at maneuvering fighters into life-changing opportunities and sees Kirstie as a future star. He says, I think we can do a similar job with Kirstie like we did with Hannah. We've got a great blueprint for the way we guided Hannah to the top, and Kirstie can benefit from that. Hannah will, I believe, become a world champion again, having lost her belts to Terry Harper in September. But we can do the same with Kirstie. She's exciting, and she's great for the fans to watch. And the best thing about her, she wants it so much. So she isn't shy when it gets a big hit, when it gets a bit hot in the kitchen. I like Kirstie and her attitude, and she brings it every time she steps in the ring. Women's boxing has progressed so far so quickly, and I'm a converted fan. I love watching the women box, and we've got some really good female fighters in our stable, including Katie Healy. I'm happy with how we're regrouping at Fight Academy and Fightzone. We've let a few people go, and we've got a few people come back on board, and we'll continue to get fighters opportunities who appreciate what we're doing for them. All right, so that's all from Dennis Hobson, pretty good promoter out of Fightzone. All right. Speaking of BCB promotions out of the UK, Gully Powar has a plan to work towards becoming the people's champion after getting his pro career up and running. It's ironic because our good friend Natalie Brown Sugar was talking about the people's champion as it related to a few women in the sport. But anyway, let me continue with this story. Gully Powar goes again as part of BCB Promotions' final bill of the year at the Hangar Events venue in Wolverhampton. That's taking place on Friday, December 16th. Powar has made his paid debut and pummeled opponent Mohammed Alworth for most of 4 rounds, although his game adversary clung on to see the finish. Powar is 20 years old. He's from Whitmore Reens, romped up a 40-35 point scoreline, having come very close to getting the job done very easily. That promise shown was also on display during his amateur career, which was spent at Wolverhampton Boxing Club, racking up a ledger of 25 victories from 34 bouts. He's currently coached by Richie Carter, who sees his long-term future in the super bantamweight division. The former Thomas Telford UTC pupil and City of Wolverhampton college student has 3 A-levels in public service, but he believes his brain for boxing is a valuable tool. He said, I had 3 days off after my debut, and then I was back to running and training. Some fighters have a week off, but I couldn't handle that. Boxing is my 24/7 lifestyle. Where have we heard that before? Everyone enjoyed my last one. It was a dominant performance for me, and that fight could have been stopped at any time, but it was good to let it go. I loved the razzmatazz, and coming out to the Punjabi drummers, it means a lot to me that I'm part of the Sikh community. I've got big aspirations. I'm determined to become the people's champion for the Sikh community and the city of Wolverhampton on the whole. There aren't that many Punjabi fighters out there, and I want to help put us all on the map. I'm very motivated to make that happen. We are being smart with training and want to be as active as possible the next 12 months. I'm staying sharp, and I'll be after a TKO or knockout this time. I'm just going to rise to the occasion, put on a show for everyone, and get those tests out of the way. I'm very effective at what I do, and I'm there to entertain people. My motto is is that hard work pays off, and if I put the effort in, I'll keep getting better and better. I'm coming for all the super bantamweights in my division. Woo, good luck. Coming up in December, former world title challenger Thomas LaManna will take on former interim world title challenger Salim Larbi in a 10-round middleweight bout that'll headline a big 7-bout card at the Showboat Hotel down in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's a card being promoted by Rising Star Promotions. LaManna, by the way, is out of New Jersey. He's ranked number 8 by the WBA and has a record of 33-5-1 with 13 knockouts. He's now 31 years old. He's been a professional for 11 years now. Wow. And is quite a favorite of Atlantic City, apparently. Let's have a quick look here. I'm glad to be back headlining in Atlantic City in a meaningful fight. And like I've said in recent months, I'm just glad to be back in general, especially when I thought it was all over for me. Salim is an experienced veteran, but I feel I'm on another level, said LaManna. Let's have a quick look here. Oh, yes, this is also the fight, by the way, that features who I mentioned just the other day, Albanian heavyweight Kristian Prenga. And he's taking on an opponent to be named. Prenga, out of Albania, but now residing in Niagara Falls, Canada, is 12-1 with 12 knockouts. The 31-year-old has fought in Germany, Albania, and Canada before campaigning in the United States, and has knockout wins over Jamie Harpas, Aldo Calianda, and his last bout he disposed of Alvin Davey in 2 rounds, also at the show bout down in Atlantic City. In a featured attraction, DeCarlo Perez, 19-6-1, of Atlantic City, takes on Nadim Sollum, 9-1. And he's fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, in the super middleweight contest. Other fighters taking part in these bouts. Let's have a quick look here. In 6-round bouts, you got Paul Bamba out of New York, opponent to be named later. He's in the light heavyweight division. Dan Murray out of New Jersey battles an opponent to be named later. He's junior welterweight. Tyrell Bostek, 7-1. Out of New York, fights an opponent to be named later in the junior welterweight division. And Jabril Noble, 4-0, undefeated. Out of Philadelphia, go figure, will take on an opponent to be named later in a lightweight bout. So, Atlantic City is going to have some fun. All right. Euri Cedeño. Sorry, I can't read that. Euri Cedeño Martinez is destined for greatness, and his team is making sure he gets there quick. The 2020 Dominican Olympian is scheduled to compete in his 3rd fight in 2 months. In his 2 previous outings, Cedeño Martinez made quick work of his opposition, stopping both of his opponents in round number 1. Coming up in December, he's facing Julio de Jesus Rodriguez, 27-4, 23 knockouts. And the card is being promoted by Sean Boxing in association with King's Promotions. Wow. Trifon Petrov, who is Cedeño Martinez's manager, believes wholeheartedly in his prized fighter. Euri is one of the most talented fighters in the world, and he'll prove it once again in December against Rodriguez, said Petrov. Cedeño Martinez is promoted by boxing great Marshall Kauffman, who now works with King's Promotions. And for our final story of the day, we're going to take a look at the ferocious Hovhannes Bachkov, who left a trail of destruction in his wake after a series of devastating sparring sessions, and said his new coach, Manny Robles. And since the Olympic medalist has moved to California to train, word has quickly spread about the savage super lightweight, with Freddie Roach among his new army of fans. Bachkov, he's 29 years of age, returns to the ring on Friday night in Uzbekistan in a 10-round contest against Mexico's Marcos Gonzalez Barraza. The double European Amateur Championships gold medalist will go 4-0 with a win and plans to use 2023 to move into world title contention at 140 pounds. Robles, one of the world's leading trainers, insists there's plenty for Bachkov to work on, but can't hide his excitement about a fighter who, he says, has a style reminiscent of the great Roberto Duran. He said, we've done a lot of sparring back in Los Angeles. He must have sparred 10 different guys, and he would take them out one at a time, said Robles. It was like, man, I've got to step it up and try to find you tougher sparring partners, because these guys I was putting them up against were not lasting. He was knocking them out. There came a point where I had to put him in with 147-pounder and 154-pound boxers. He was like, why are you doing this to me? I said, because everyone your weight, you're knocking them out. He pretty much ran through everybody. So I'd have to start visiting different gyms in Southern California. And for one, Freddie Roach at Wildcard got a chance to see Bachkov. I have a great relationship with Freddie, and he said to me, where'd you find this guy? This guy's good. Robles is trying to improve Bachkov's ability to cut off the ring, his lateral movement, and counter-punching. He said, I want to see how he listens to me on Friday night, but says there's a reason why the Armenian has already achieved so much. He's a very physical fighter who doesn't take a back step. if I had to compare him to someone stylistically, and I know this is big, but I would say Roberto Duran. Well, there you go, fight fans. That's all your boxing news we have for you today. Appreciate it. Remember to stay tuned for Holly Donovan coming up with her live updates from London with respect to the big Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora fight. And later on this afternoon, I believe we've got another episode of Knuckle Up featuring Mike Orr and Cedric Ben. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on. Thank you.